this vehicle or tube that I was traveling in. I could see out of it.
Wow.
And I went past hell, and there is definitely a hell.
I don't like this part of the story. What do you mean? You went past hell. Where is hell?
Well, I went past it. I traveled past it, and I heard and smelled it, and there was some friends of mine, like, it was about 8 or 9 years ago, they showed me this sample of rock from Sodom and Gomorrah, and I touched it, and I could not get that smell off my hands for like 3 days, and I kept washing and washing and washing, and I could relate to that Lady Macbeth feeling, and that smell, that sulfuric odor was the same that emanated from that place. And I remember thinking, I want no part of this area, and as soon as I thought that, my conveyance went even faster. And
that's interesting. That's real interesting, because that sort of tells you that you wind up where you resonate. But then again, who in their right mind would say, "Oh, bring me to the stench"?
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's really weird. I just know that I wanted no part of it, and as soon as I thought that, then my vehicle went even quicker away from it.
This is good for the rest of us to know. Remember that. We want no part of this. I like that. All right.
I was very adamant about that in my thought process.
Now, this conveyance, if you will, did this seem like it was just a straight linear path?
I was reclining in this thing. I wasn't sitting straight up, but I wasn't lying down in it either. I was sitting back, and it was just so fast. I can't even begin to tell you where it went or whatever. Okay. It was just fast.
But it didn't seem to make turns and go over curves or anything?
It was so quick, I don't know what it did.
Okay.
It was I mean, wow. It was just, and then as soon as I got to where I was supposed to get, I heard this incredibly beautiful music.
And we're hearing it right now. Hey, hang on a minute, Vicky. I'm Raleigh James. It's Coast to Coast AM. Well, what about those who left and came back? The interesting thing when we talk near-death experiences, and that's what we're doing with Vicky Noratuck, is that they are so numerous that it's undeniable they're occurring. Of course, the real question is, what is it? And next hour, we'll be talking with Elaine Stout, who is president of the International Association for Near-Death Studies. But now we're talking to Vicky Noratuck, a two-time near-death experience survivor with quite the tale. So we left Vicky in the conveyance vehicle just past hell. Again, that's a little unnerving, don't you think? And and we will pick her up right there in mere moments with Raleigh James on Coast to Coast AM. It is Coast to Coast AM. I am Raleigh James, and we're going to bypass hell and go right back to Vicky Noratuck. All right, Vicky, so you're on your way. You're getting out of this place. And, of course, for people just tuning in, we are talking near-death experiences, which is hopefully the only way we have recollections of hell. But where do you wind up?
Well, I ended up in this place that was similar to a park shelter in a lot of ways. It was beautiful. It had huge flowers, and I was ejected very pleasantly enough, from this vehicle. And then Jesus was there. I was greeted by 2 deceased classmates and 2 people who had taken care of me when I was a child. And then Jesus was there as well, and my grandmother was there. She had died 2 years before. Everybody that was there to greet me was dead. And Jesus held up his hand, and he goes, "No." My grandfather was there in the background as well, I was going to say, too. But anyway, I hadn't known him. He passed away just prior to my birth. And he appeared to my mother and told her, "Don't worry, sis, you're going to have a little girl and she'll live." So that was kind of an interesting situation, too, because I was only in the womb 22 weeks. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he told me that it was not my time yet. When Jesus was speaking to me and he held up his hand, he said, "It is not your time yet. You may not go to my Father's house now. You must go back and give birth to your children, and you must learn and teach about loving and forgiving. You will be severely tested. You have been through many hard things, and you will go through many more, some of which man will call unforgivable. But you must ask me for help and you must show love and forgiveness in all of your dealings with your fellow man, because loving and forgiving are the key to life.
Interesting. And that's why I say that's interesting, is that's sort of the universal that we hear from everybody, is that universal love is the message that they come back with from this. That's sort of the directive.
He was very specific about it, and he told me that it didn't matter whether I thought they deserved forgiving or not. You know, that would be up to him. And he said, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You know, he was very emphatic about that I should let it be dealt with through him, and to ask him for help to deal with it all.
Now, when he said that, since that time coming back, have you felt any direct connection where you can call on Jesus and have him physically, and it doesn't have to be visually, but appear to you in some way so that you feel the connection? Yes.
There was one point at which I was attacked by a stranger. I was almost murdered. I didn't know what to do, and the same voice came, and it said, "Pray out loud." And it separated the words very distinctly. And I did, and I just said, "God, please bless this man and help him to realize that this isn't the way to treat people." And he couldn't handle it. He said, "Why don't you cuss at me, and why don't you fight back, because then I could put you to sleep real easy." And I said, "I hate what you've done to me." It was rape and attempted strangulation. Mm-hmm. And he said, he said, why don't you just fight me, because then it would be real easy for me to terminate you. And I said, "I hate what you've done to me, but I love you as a child of God." And then he goes, stop it. You remind me of my mama when she used to take me to Sunday school." And I said, "Well, maybe that's where you belong again." And then he just wept and wept and wept and said, "Oh, God, oh, Jesus, I'm sorry. Oh, God, what have I done? I'm sorry." And then he let me go. Wow. There's a story for you. All right, so you were told about your coming children, and you were told about your mission, the universal mission, if you will, to love and forgive. Any other knowledge of the future or your purpose or life in general? Yes. Before he sent me back, I argued with him at first, and I said that I didn't want to go back and that I didn't want to leave that place. And he said, "You will return, but you must do this. Your work is not finished." And then he said, "Let them know of this day and tell them that I am." And I thought, well, that's kind of a strange way to express it. And, of course, now I know the scriptures more, but at that time I really didn't understand why he said it that way. Mm-hmm. And then he said, "First watch this." And he showed me a review of my life. And I had struggled with suicidal feelings, and he, for one thing, told me that it grieved him if someone attempted that, but that he loved us so much and wanted us to know that he was with us through everything that we went through. And during the time that I was being shown this review of my life, he was with me in all of it. And not only did I feel my own feelings and in exquisite detail saw everything, but I also felt what everyone else had felt. And, for example, this grandmother that had died 2 years before, she had been mentally ill. Her doctor said that she was psychotic, that she was very high-functioning psychotic, but she had raised me pretty much. And I'm very grateful for a lot of the things that she did for me, but she was abusive in many ways. And I struggled with a lot of ambivalent feelings toward her, but when I saw that review, the life review, then I was able to find out what it was like from her vantage point, and I, in essence, experienced her mental illness. Right. And then I felt just gut-wrenching is the only word I can use for it, compassion for her, and I was able to heal a lot better from the things that had happened. Oh, you betcha. Being able to put yourself in someone else's perspective is so rare for those of us here, and so enlightening. But just to hear you were raised by a psychotic, when you think about that, my God, I can see depression and suicide would have to have crossed your mind along the path. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, in terms of, so there's one. Was there anybody else there that you saw and realized, my God, it's different when you're dead? Well, my classmates, Debbie and Diane, we went to the school for the